I'm Bob Savakinus. Welcome to our program in a nutshell. Today we have two very special guests with us, Ann Savakinus, the Executive Director of the Lackawanna Historical Society, and Leni Piasky, who's a board member and trustee of the Historical Society as well. Ladies, welcome to our program today, and thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Bob, for having us.
Ann, I know there's always a lot of activities going on at the Historical Society, so I know there's a couple of upcoming events that you'd like to tell our viewers about, so if you'd like to possibly start with maybe the dinner, your annual dinner.
Yes, we're very excited about our annual dinner. We do our annual dinner every fall, and we try to come up with a program that is both entertaining and educational. So this year we decided that really in an effort to promote a book that was published last year called Labeling Lackawanna. This is all of the place names in Lackawanna County, and it was written by a retired University of Scranton professor, Willis Conover. And so we asked Willis to be our speaker, and he said, well, I don't know if I want to do all by myself. He wanted to have company, so we decided to create a trio of local history geniuses, we like to call them. Actually, the name of the program is One County, Three Gents, and 145 Years of History. We're calling it Let's Talk Lackawanna. So we have Willis Conover, who is really the expert on all place names in Lackawanna County, and then we invited our good friend, the director of the Lackawanna River Conservation Authority, Bernie McGurl, and I think a lot of people know Bernie. I think he's been on your show, but Bernie not only knows the river, Bernie knows the county. In fact, his father was once active with the Lackawanna Historical Society, so Bernie literally grew up within the Historical Society walls, which is why I like to think he knows so much. And then we have Ted Baird. Ted is from the North Pocono region of Lackawanna County, Moscow and Covington in that area, and really knows that side of the county's history very well, and in addition to that does a lot of archaeology in the area. So we thought by bringing these three men together we could have an excellent conversation on local history. And the annual dinner is coming up soon. It's going to be on September 7th. It's a Thursday evening. It starts at 6 o'clock at the Radisson with a cocktail hour followed by dinner, and then, of course, the conversation with these three men. And my coworker, Sarah Piccini, she will be moderating the conversation. So she's working with these three men to tie in the stories they tell and create kind of a nice weave to the area history as we discuss it on September 7th.
So I have to ask, how did we end up with 145 years of history?
Well, Lackawanna County, actually, we're in the middle of August right now, so we're right at the anniversary of Lackawanna County's founding. It was in August of 1878. Thus, if you do the math, 145 years.
And it will be at the Radisson, which our good friends at the Radisson always provide a great dinner, great food and entertainment and everything. So how many years have you been doing the annual dinner?
I have been doing the annual dinner for at least 32 years, but the Historical Society has, I think they probably started doing the dinner as soon as they moved into the Catlin House, which was in 1942, and their earlier dinners were kind of interesting. We have some photos of those where they had dinner in the Catlin House, and if you've ever been to the Catlin House, it's a beautiful 1912 residence with a giant kind of entrance hall, and they literally, which we still have today, set up card tables in the hallway, and folks would come in and listen to a lecture and have a catered dinner there. Now, we don't use the house for that sort of event anymore, so that's when we started taking the dinner on the road, and we do like to be in historic buildings, so obviously the Lackawanna Station is one of our favorite spots for the dinner, and the staff at the Radisson is always super helpful.
So a great opportunity for everyone to get together, discuss local history, have a good meal, spend some time together and everything. So the Lackawanna Historical Society's annual dinner, another great event put on by the Historical Society. Leni, you're a board member, trustee of the Historical Society, which means I assume you volunteer a lot, you spend a lot of time doing events and everything.
I do, yes.
Tell us a little bit about what it's like being that volunteer and being involved with the organization, a board member, trustee.
You know, I have to go back to the annual dinner, Ann, because that's when they have Volunteer of the Year, and it's always a surprise that we find out. And one year, I was actually chosen.
Yes.
And what's interesting, we had talked about the Century Club before, that it was held at the Century Club the year that I got Volunteer of the Year. So that was really special for me.
So you mentioned the Century Club. You're also the president of the
Yes,
Century
I am,
Club.
presently.
So maybe give us a little background on the Century Club as Ann told us a little bit about the Catlin House.
Well, the Century Club was actually formed in 1912, the same year that the Catlin House was built. And the women had asked the men at the Scranton Club if they could use a room there They wouldn't let them. So they went out and built their club. The land was bought by Worthington Scranton, and he donated the land, and then the women got the money, they got the designs, and then they went ahead and built it. It does not belong to the Century Club anymore. Our membership kept going down, as so many clubs did, and it now belongs to the Scranton Area Community Foundation. But we still have access to the club, and we still have activities there. We have cards, we have mahjong, we have rosin, which is an exercise form. And we also have luncheons once a month, and different speakers. So that's what's going on there now.
So I assume the website and everything for we'll have the information.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's go back to the Historical Society. So you're a board member, trustee, and everything. So what are some of the things that you do as that board member, volunteer, and everything that you do with the Historical Society?
One of the things that I'm mainly involved with are the downtown walking tours and the Scranton After Dark tours.
They're very popular, from what I understand, through all the years.
Absolutely, yes. We have during the summer, we have the downtown walking tours, which are free. By the time this is airing, they will be finished. But if anybody needs a special walking tour, we can always arrange that with the Historical Society. What's coming up in September, the very end of September through October on Friday nights, is the Scranton After Dark tour.
Ooh,
And
scary
that
there.
is, everybody loves that. That one we charge for. It's $15, and they start at 7 o'clock, and we have 2 tours each of those Fridays. What I like to tell people is that after World War II, Scranton didn't have the money to tear down a lot of the buildings. And it's beautiful architecture. But also, there are many spirits that are still in those buildings, and they really are there. So you have to take the tour to find out about our wonderful haunted Scranton.
So with the fall season, the Halloween season approaching, it's a perfect time to learn a little bit of
Absolutely.
history, see some architecture, and here's some spooky type stories, if we want to call it something
Yeah.
like that. And how many years have you been doing that, Leni?
I've been doing that about 19 years. And not necessarily the Scranton After Dark, because we didn't start them so early, but I've been volunteering that long. I've been a member well before that, but I started volunteering around 2004, I guess.
So what can someone expect when they do the walking tour, as far as like, they'll be walking what areas, how far, how long will the walk last,
The
things like
Scranton
that?
After Dark tour takes about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. It could run a little bit longer. And we start at the Catlin House. We talk about, there are spirits in there. We talk about that, and then we talk about the Radisson, and we go downtown, and we walk around the different buildings and the courthouse. It's really, it's a long walk, but it's a very interesting walk. And I was fortunate enough a few years ago to actually have a ghost tour experience at the Albright Library and also at the Cultural Center. And they're quite, we'll just say, haunted places, and we talk about those a lot on the tour. So we have 4 different guides. I am one of them, and we have 3 other guides that do these tours. And, well, you get a different experience for each person. We each like to emphasize a different area of the tour.
So what do people usually say after the tour? Like, what are their comments? How do they feel after they've done these tours?
They really like the tours. In fact, some people come back, and I said, well, basically you're getting the same tour. And they said, oh no, well, you tell us something different every year. And we just like it so much that we like to come back again. Or they bring friends when they come back.
So it's a great opportunity to get out, even get some exercise.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the fall weather, learn history, see some architecture, and again, hear those
Yes.
spooky stories. So the downtown walking tours followed by the ghost walking tours.
Absolutely. The downtown walking tours are usually Saturday mornings or Friday evening. And that you're not getting the spooky part. I tell people, if you want to hear more, come on our Scranton After Dark tours. But yeah, they really get the architecture and the history of the buildings. when
Sounds
we
like
do
a
those.
lot of fun, and
It is.
hopefully we'll have our viewers signing up, although you do very well from what we understand
Yeah.
for almost 20 years of doing these. Mary Ann, let's go back and, what are your thoughts on the walking tours as the
I-
director for all these years?
I love the walking tours. I love that the volunteers are so vested in them. They take the extra step. Leni mentioned going to the paranormal investigations at the other sites, which is run by the Wyoming Valley Ghost Tours, also very good friends of the Lackawanna Historical Society. They do investigations at the Catlin House. They're going to do one of those in September as well. But that information adds to what our tour guides already know. And then the bottom line for me, and I think the tour guides, is that yes, we're telling you spooky stories, and you can, take it or leave it as you wish, but at the same time, we're telling you about the history of the area and the architecture of some of the most wonderful buildings in the country, I think. I think we have exquisite architecture, and any chance we have to promote that, I think is a great opportunity for all of us.
Well, I'd like to move on now to another big event that you have coming up. It is amazing when you and Sarah and Olivia, your staff members and your board of trustees supporting everything, you always come up with so many unique ideas. So there's going to be a night of amusements.
Yes.
How about some details? You want to share some details and tell us what a night of amusements is
Night
going
of
to involve?
Amusements is it's a brand new event for the Historical Society, and it's kind of a unique concept where we're going to be at Siddell's Restaurant in North Scranton on October 5th. From 5:30 to 8:30. There is a fee for admission, but then once you come in, we have the patio of Siddell's Restaurant, and we're going to set it up with booths and activities of what would be considered traditional Victorian entertainments. So there'll be games of chance. We're going to have a big six-wheel and a couple of little games like an eggshell game and things like that. We have a fortune teller who I think is at the table with us today. We're going to have a special magical beast who will be there for people to go and see and maybe have their photo taken with it. And then some other lively entertainment going on throughout. But we wanted to kind of pull in the idea that Victorians had very interesting ways of being entertained, and we want to recreate some of that. So we're trying to get a medium to come in and do some readings in tarot cards and just fun. I think it will be different because we're pulling in those past kind of unique ideas of strange entertainment. I'm excited about the Magical Beast. We do have a sponsorship from Posture. Tony Bartocci was very excited when I told him what the Beast was. So
We'll keep everyone guessing.
yes, it will be a surprise when you come. And there'll also be food that Siddell's Restaurant is going to try to stick with the traditional carnival food, not the new stuff, like you're not going to find deep fried Oreos or anything like that, but more traditional hand pies or versions of hand pies and, maybe corn on the cob. I'm not sure what he's going to do, but he has a whole list of ideas that we took out of like World's Fair menus and things like that so that we can create the time period. And another thing we're going to do is ask people who are interested to come in Victorian period costume. And we have two very active members at the Historical Society that are known for their costuming, and they're going to be judges that evening. So if people show up in costume, they might receive honorable mention awards or something like that.
And what is the date again?
It's October 5th, 5:30 to 8:30. Tickets will go on sale soon from our website, LackawannaHistory.org.
So Leni, it sounds like you're going to be a part of this as a board member, trustee, as a psychic, a medium, a tarot card reader, something like that?
Tarot cards.
Tarot cards?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about a new event like this coming up for the Historical Society? Is it a great way to attract new members, to get the public more engaged with the Historical Society? How do you feel from that perspective?
I think it's going to be so much fun, and it's going to be so different from anything that we have done in the past that I feel it's going to be a really good event. And hopefully we will attract some new members. That would be wonderful if we did. Also, many members will come to that who maybe haven't attended some of the other events because this will be different.
And you're looking forward to your role?
Oh,
How are
yeah.
you preparing for this role?
I have to review my notes and my cards. It's been a while since I have done any tarot card readings, but I have done them in the past, so it'll be a new experience. How would I put this? A refreshing experience of something I did in the past, so it's going to be fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Marianne, what else do you have to tell us about the Historical Society has coming up in the next month or so?
We have an awful lot coming up in the next month or so. We were quiet in July and August, and now we're moving right into the fall season. So we have our annual dinner that I mentioned. We have the night of amusement. We have the haunted tours starting up, the Scranton After Dark tours. Our genealogy forum is very active. They've been meeting monthly all through the summer focusing on how to search different European records. There was an Irish one, there was an Italian one, a German one, a Polish one. I might be missing one in there. But now they're going to probably go virtual for the winter months, and that way anybody could log into a Zoom account and listen on information about finding local records. They kind of do local state records during the winter months. And then also in October, they'll be doing a full workshop for beginners, and they're doing that with our partners at the Albright Library. They'll be hosting it on Saturday mornings, and you can find information on our website for that. And we flipped our local history game show. We used to do it in the spring. We moved it to the fall this year. So that's happening on September 24th, and there'll be more information on that coming soon, again, on our website. It's all going to be listed on our website. Olivia is very busy creating new calendars.
So once again, a very, very busy season for the Historical Society with all kind of activities, events, and things like that. And again, it's amazing what the team of the Historical Society puts together throughout the course of the year. Leni, let's talk a little bit personally. Tell me a little bit about the things that you're involved with in our community. I know you serve on various boards, things like that. The Century Club, but
Well, yeah, involved with the Century Club. This is actually my second time to be president of the Century Club, and I was president of the juniors back in the 90s.
What got you involved with the Century Club, if I could ask?
You know, some friends were in the Century Club, and I joined that way, and kept me involved. We used to do more philanthropic work because that was one of the reasons the club was started by those women in the beginning. We still have the Nurses Scholarship now, which it's not just nurses, it's people entering the medical profession. And we do provide 3 or 4 scholarships every year. So that is our main philanthropic thing now because of the fact that we have very few members. We're under 100 right now, and we would love to keep on going. But things have to change. You know, women's lifestyles have changed over the many years since it was originally formed. And that's one of the reasons that we had to give up the building. We could not afford to keep it anymore. But Scranton Area Community Foundation will use it. And it'll be used, and we'll still be able to use that.
And it sounds like you have activities coming up, luncheons, things like that.
Yeah. So we actually have, in October, we have Bill Conlog, who is also a trustee at the Historical Society, and he's a professor at Marywood, and he will be speaking about one of his books. He's written several about the area. And then in November, we have Rich Jenkins, who's very active in the Historical Society, and his family has been here for like 6 generations, and he'll be talking about that.
So overall, just kind of tell us, like, what does a luncheon involve? I mean, you have the speaker, the food is catered, things like that.
Yeah,
Just kind of looking like
yesterday
for
we
people
had-
that may be interested in attending that haven't attended in the past.
Yesterday we had one. It was one of our members who wrote a book about her life. She's 90. Well, she knows. Everybody knows she's 90. It was a really interesting luncheon. We had a potluck, so we all brought food in. Yeah, it's and some of the next several we have will be catered, but this one was a potluck.
Okay. So it sounds like, again, a nice opportunity
Yeah.
for people to get together on a smaller scale, to hear a little bit about our local history or about a unique individual, and enjoy some company and camaraderie, food, things like that.
And then again, bridge, cards, pinochle, and also on Tuesdays they play mahjong, and then they have rosin. And we're having lessons right now. We have mahjong lessons, or we have pinochle lessons right now, or bridge lessons.
So the card games, where did the history of the card games come from as far as being involved with?
I don't
With the
know.
yeah.
I don't think that in the early days, I think they had programs. They used to have departments because they had so many members, you know, the garden department, and at one time the Garden Club of Scranton met there. And actually that was the first home of the Scranton Community Area Concert Series or whatever. I can't remember what it was called.
Concerts.
Yeah, community concerts. That was the first home of it because the acoustics in the auditorium at the Century Club are just perfect. You know, they're unbelievable how good they are. And it's a small auditorium, but that's where that community concert series started. And I can remember as a kid, well, high school, going there to my Frosty Frolic, which was from, yeah, that was the name of the dance at Christmas time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's still a lot of activities you have going on. All this information is on a website, details and everything?
Facebook. Right now,
Facebook?
yeah.
Okay, what is the Facebook page?
Well, Facebook, just
Century.
Century
Just the
Club.
Century
Yeah,
Club?
just
Okay, again, just so our
do it that way, yeah.
our audience can know about it. Okay, so Mary Ann, what else you got for us at the Historical Society?
I didn't mention it because I know that Julie Esty is going to do an interview with you, but we are doing the local history fair at the Viewmont Mall. We started last year just in an effort because of one of the society's members, Joe Clapatch. He's very active in some other historical organizations and goes to Pottsville every year where they have this gigantic local history fair, and he wanted us to do one here. So we brought it in last fall, and the mall was very helpful to us, and so we're going back this year. So far we have 10 organizations signed up, and it includes some of the smaller historical societies around, like the German Historical Society and the Greenfield Township Historical Society. We also have Janice Gavrin, who is dedicated to documenting women vets in the area. She'll have a booth at this event. Some local authors, our friends in Carbondale Historical Society, the county library system. So last year we had about 22 organizations. We're hoping to get that many again. And it's free at the mall. They'll be selling things, talking about membership, upcoming activities. It's a great way to go to one place and find out what the region is doing as far as local history is concerned. So September 30th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Viewmont Mall.
Another good community partner, the
Yes,
Viewmont
sir.
Mall. So I'm a viewer and I'm watching this show, and I say, as the director of the Historical Society, as a board member trustee, why should I join the Lackawanna Historical Society? Why should I get involved?
Because you're my husband. No. I think that everyone who lives in Lackawanna County should be a member of the Lackawanna Historical Society, because we are trying not only to tell the stories of the past, but collect what's happening now for the future. So everyone who's living in the county is helping to make that future history. So by being a member of the Historical Society, they not only get the information we're sharing today, they can contribute information for us to share in the future.
And Leni, as a trustee, what are your thoughts on why
That was
people?
perfect, Mary Ann. I
Thank
don't know
you.
if I can top that. But, you know, being a lover of history, I think that it's such an organization that people should join to hear history, hear the speakers that we have, see what we're doing, be involved. It's just a wonderful way to be involved in the community. So that would be such a benefit to us with more people, and a benefit to the people joining, because they would get they would learn what we have to share with people.
And I think in our brief discussion, we've heard about so many different unique activities, whether you're going to go to a book fair type situation, whether you're going to come to hear a lecture, whether you're going to have a night of amusements, whether you're going to do a paranormal ghost walking tour, a history tour, things like that. So many different activities for so many different ages and types of families and people and everything. Well, I think we've reached the end of our program for today, ladies. Is there anything else you would like to?
I think we got it all in. I'm not
I think
sure.
so, yeah, we
All right,
did.
then.
We covered a lot.
Well, thank you both for being our guests
You are
today.
welcome.
Thanks, Bob.
I'm Bob Savakinus. Thank you for tuning in to A Nutshell. And thank you, Mary Ann Moran Savakinus, Director of the Lackawanna Historical Society, and Leni Piasky, Board Member and Trustee of the Lackawanna Historical Society.